Hi, everyone. So today I'd like to talk about the business of writing. I think sometimes people have a romanticized view of what it means to work in the creative field, whether it's being an author, a musician, an artist. And it's not to say that there aren't wonderful moments. I love what I do, or else I would not be a writer. I mention this because sometimes someone will be working in another field, but they've always had this dream of writing a book. And I fully support that if it's the dream. But what might happen? So, what happens often is they'll write the book, they'll put it out there, and they have this romanticized idea that they're going to make millions and be an instant bestseller. And then they're going to write for the rest of their days with a cup of tea at their side in the comfort of their home. I wish that for them. I truly do. But the reality is, we have to think of writing for the long haul and as a business. So if you're promoting for 3 months to a year, instead of giving up and saying, oh, that was a failed experiment, that didn't work, and walking away, it's looking at how you can fine tune your craft and your marketing for the long haul. It's considering what a startup or any company would do. A major company that you know today that's a success didn't get there in 3 months or a year. They might have been working 10 or 15. They might have made strides and then had failures and setbacks and then moved forward again. So it's like just steady progress over time. So you want to think for yourself, am I writing as a hobby? Just something that I enjoy doing, or it's a once and done. I have a dream of doing it, done it, now I can do something else. Or is this a long-term professional goal for you? If the latter, I'm going to ask you to think about three things. The first is time. Many purist authors will write, research their book, and from the time of the first draft to publication, it might be a year, 2 years, or more that has gone by. They're recrafting, they're restructuring, they're getting beta readers, they're making more changes, they're having developmental edits, making more changes, then goes to an editor, then a proofer, and then finally it gets published. I do not follow that process. Number one, because I don't have the luxury of that kind of time. And number two, I know myself well enough to know that I will always find something to change. So if I'm waiting for perfection in myself, my books will never see the light of day. So I have the timing of maybe 6 months to a year for a book. And it allows me to create something of quality. It allows me to enjoy the process and still meet my deadlines for my business goals. Fast forward to many other authors I know who write so fast. It's like every other day, it's like they have another book. And oftentimes those are novellas, flash fiction. They might be 200 words or less. And that is because they have a readership that's demanding that pace. Great for them. I would not enjoy writing that fast. I don't believe that I personally could produce the quality that I would want to produce that quickly. And it's in some ways genre specific. So if you're writing, say, a romantic comedy, it might be a very quick turnaround compared to writing, say, historical fiction or something that requires a great deal of research before you even put pen to paper. So think about the timing as it relates to how you're running your business. The second thing to think about is your level of involvement. So for me, my books are my babies. I create the characters, the plot, the scenes. I will play with them and go on long walks as I think about how to approach things in a different way and tie up the plot holes and loose ends. And oftentimes the story will change shape from what I've originally intended, and I end up with what I think is a better product as a result. So the only other hands on my work would be beta readers offering suggestions, line editors, and proofers. That's it. Everything else, it's my baby, for good or bad. It's Um, Other authors who maybe have a level of fame or maybe they're producing at a rate where they can't do that might write a rough draft or a near final draft, but then turn it over to a ghostwriter to comb through it, to craft it, to clean it up before it's published. So their name is still on it, but other hands have made some adjustments. And in some cases, it might be that that writer would turn over an outline for the ghostwriter. They know exactly what's going to happen, but that writer is going to take their instructions and run with it. And the flip side that I've seen more recently, I got pinged on LinkedIn for a contract writing a complete outline with details to hand off to another writer. So I didn't apply for this contract, but it would have involved me coming up with the entire outline and all the plot points and all the research, turning it over to whomever it was to write it. So think about how involved you want to be in your own process, what your level of comfort is. That gets me to point number three, living within your values and your comfort level. Do I have a problem if there's a company that wants me to ghostwrite and the company name is on it and my name never appears? That's okay with me. It's a company name. I'm not going to get credit. Do you need to feel that you have the credit? Do you feel comfortable with other people, say, even taking part of your work and making changes? And the last one is how comfortable are you either A, if an agent or someone hires you to write something, and perhaps it does have your name on it. Perhaps a publisher says, I love your work, but I want you to write it this way, or that chapter you had about this, I want you to change it. Are you so tried and true, like, no, this is my work and I stick by what I'm writing. I'm not going to pander. This is what you get. Or you might look at it and say, yeah, I'm okay making that change if it would make it more palatable for the audience. So thinking about, does it bother you if your name is on it or is not? Does it bother you if you're asked to write a certain way or change certain things? And finally, what happens if you're asked to write something, whether your name is on it or not, that maybe goes against your personal beliefs or values? Does it matter? And in all this, I'm not saying there's a right or wrong answer. I'm just saying, in terms of business, these are things for you to think about. I hope that was helpful in kind of setting the stage of the writing world and thinking about for yourself, is it a hobby or is it a business? How much time do I need to produce? Am I producing the entire thing from start to finish? Am I enlisting the help of others? Am I living in my values and producing quality work that I can be proud of? Thanks for joining me.